So this right here is the next step up. This is the next step up for increased variation using these tense build cards. Now remember, increased variation means increased difficulty. We have 3 different types of cards in each pack: subjects, verbs, and time phrases. Now, what do I mean when I say increased variation means increased difficulty? Well, let's take a look. If I do an activity with 10 of these cards, let's say 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, how many variations are there? Just 10 different combinations. And if I take one of these verb cards, it's still just 10 different combinations. But watch this. If I take 10 of these verb cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, how many different combinations are there? Well, if I mix up these cards, it's different combinations. If I mix up these cards, it's different combinations. A total possibility of combinations is 10 times 10. So that is 100 different possibilities. If we just have one, they can technically memorize that. What we're doing is moving closer to fluency, where they have to react. Memorizing in a short space of time 100 different combinations is much less likely to happen, if it's possible at all. So increased variation means increased difficulty because it is more random for the students, and it requires them to react based on the situation, which again moves towards more reflexive language. So here is the level 2 of variation. So let's just take one subject. So we can start with just I. Just make positive sentences. So I've got, I have climbed trees for the past 2 years. So I want them to recognize that for the last 2 years, present perfect, okay. I have climbed trees for the past 2 years. Shout. Yesterday. I shouted yesterday morning at breakfast. I will sleep all day tomorrow. I have sung on the bus over the last 5 years. I am talking on the phone. Talking on the phone at the moment. I have read a book recently. I will ride a horse someday. I waited at the bus stop in 2015. So, again, always start slow. And if I mix up these cards, the options are now completely different. It's going to be a different activity for the students when they repeat if you have them mix up the cards. So always start slowly. I can do this activity with positives. I can do it with negatives. I can do it with questions. And I can change up the subject. I can take one from the stack. My doctor. Now it's third person singular where they have to repeat it. Let's do questions. Will my doctor run from wild animals someday? Did my doctor play outside in 2015? So first, start slowly. We can do positive, we can do negatives, we can do questions. This is a partial card flip is the name of the activity. Now we have the challenge. Now this challenge right here, you can do in several different ways. I'll give you a few examples. Let's just take the I with positive where we started. So the first is time it. So we've got ready, I got my timer, set, go. I will climb trees someday. I read a book in 2015. I am riding a horse right now. I waited at the bus stop yesterday morning at breakfast. I will shout tomorrow. I have slept all day over the last 5 years. I am singing on the bus at the moment. I have talked on the phone recently. I have run from wild animals for the last 2 years. I will play outside next month. So now I have my time. Tom, put it on the board, record my time, and set a goal. So if I got 25.74 the first time, the next time I want to see 18.99. Remember, the goal should be challenging because the challenge provides value to progress and to repetition. So the more they go through it, the more obvious the progress becomes. And if you have a strong student or if you have a weak student, they all see progress, which is awesome. That's excellent. That's such a luxury, especially since we always have mixed level groups to some extent in some way, shape, or form. Now, you can count up, do a time, or you can count down. You can tell your students, okay, you have this many cards, you have 20 seconds. 20 seconds, how many can you do? Ready? Go. And it counts down. It counts down as they go through the cards, and the goal is to get through as many cards as possible in that time limit. So the first time you record their scores, and then you say, okay, next time you got 5 the first time, I want to see 7. I want to see 7 from you. Record their first results, give them a goal, record their second results and third results. If they get the goal, set another goal. Challenge them again. That is the value of repetition. So we've got time it, we've got countdown, and we can also do a board race. Split the class into 2 teams. One representative from each team comes to the board. You have, at the front of the room, a set of cards. You give them a subject. Let's just take one. Lots of birds. Okay, so we have lots of birds. This stays constant in this variation of the activity in order to keep it straightforward for variation. So lots of birds. Ready? Go. So they have to write, lots of birds are shouting at the moment. Whoever writes it on the board the fastest with perfect accuracy gets a point for the team. Now, if we have students who are weak at fluency, like that could be because they're not accurate at all. That could be because they're too hesitant. They're too worried when they speak. So let's take a student who's not accurate at all. They just talk, and write, and they're confident that they're writing something, they're saying something, but it doesn't mean anything because they're making too many mistakes. What we're doing with this sort of activity is forcing them to pay attention to accuracy. They don't get the point if they're inaccurate. On the other hand, the students who are very careful and fearful about making mistakes when they speak, they're encouraged to move quickly. And they're likely going to have some time because if you require perfection when you write on the board, the other student will probably make a mistake here or there, so they have to look at it. So that right there is we're building up. We're building up in difficulty by increasing variation. Now, there are lots of different ways to do this. A teacher came to me probably about 3-4 weeks ago, and she had a new idea for it. So she had 2 teams because her class wasn't paying enough attention to accuracy. They would make a mistake and then just kind of blow it off. So what she would do was this activity, the team came to the board and they had to write the sentence on the board. Not for speed, but for accuracy. Each team had 5 points. And if the other team noticed a mistake in what they wrote, they lost a point. So they have 4 at that point. If they're correct, they keep their points. And it keeps going until one of the teams has 0 points, and the team that has points left wins. So that's forcing the students to focus on accuracy in this case. Now, this one I like a lot. This is one of my favorite activities. This is called short answer race on steroids because we have the short answer race where the questions are given, and this one, the questions are not given. So I've got verbs and I've got time phrases. One person makes a yes-no question. For example, have you shouted recently? The second student responds, no, I haven't. Have you slept all day for the last 2 years? Yes, I have. Ha 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 ha. They laugh at that. Will you sing on the bus next month? No, I won't. And they continue going through these cards. Then, increase the difficulty. Give them a challenge. Time them. Time them. Record their time. Give them a goal. And that requires repetition. And it's repetition in a way that increases student focus. We're moving closer and closer to fluency by increasing the variation in the cards. And repetition becomes more interesting for the students. So those are a few ways to use these cards, which again are incredibly adaptable. It's great to have in the lesson. You can choose what tenses to work on specifically depending on what you want to hear in an upcoming speaking activity or questions or problems that they had in a previous speaking activity. That is level 2 of variation for Tense Build.